The sky was covered in smoke. Swords clanged, screams rent the air, the blood of the Hebrews stained the battlefields. Once again, the Philistines advanced like an invincible army. Chariots, shields, sharp spears. Israel, leaderless, without strength, without faith, simply retreated. The tribes were divided, the altars of the Lord abandoned. Cowardly men hid in caves. Women mourned their dead children. The chosen people, now enslaved, lived under the cruel rule of the Philistines. For 40 years, Israel knew no peace, only silence, the silence of defeat, until, amidst the ashes of hope, God decided to raise up a living weapon, not a king, not an army, but a man, a warrior marked from the womb. His name would be Samson. In a small tribe among the hills of Dan lived Manoah and his wife. Her name is not revealed, but her pain was known. She was sterile. One day, alone in the field, the angel of the Lord appeared. He was no ordinary man. His face shone. His words carried eternal authority. You are barren and have never had children, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. But be careful. Do not drink wine or eat unclean things, because the boy will be a Nazirite from the womb, and he will begin to deliver Israel from the hand of the Philistines. Manoah prayed for confirmation. The angel has returned, and when he ascended to heaven, amid the flame of an altar, they both fell on their faces. They knew God was about to do something great. The boy was born, and they named him Samson, which means little son. From an early age, Samson was educated rigorously. He couldn't cut his hair. I couldn't touch the dead. I couldn't drink wine. His life did not belong to him. It was consecrated to the Lord. While the other boys played in the streets, Samson trained. He was stronger, faster, more agile. His mother reminded him, "You are a miracle. God set you apart to free the people." But there was also restlessness in the young man. He saw the Philistines. He saw their luxury, their women, their feasts. And even though he was a Nazirite, Samson grew up divided between his calling and his desire. In Zorah, rumors spread. Young Samson was different. One day as he went alone to Timnah, he heard the roar of a lion. Any man would flee, but Samson faced the animal with his bare hands. He tore him apart like a lamb. The Spirit of God had come upon him with power. Weeks later, as he passed along the same path, he saw the lion's corpse, and inside it, there was honey. He proved it. It was sweet. From what was meant to kill, food came out, a metaphor for your own mission. Samson fell in love with a Philistine woman. Against his parents' advice, he insisted on marrying her. During the banquet, he proposed a riddle to the guests. From the eater came food, and from the strong came sweetness. If you answer me in 7 days, I will give you 30 changes of clothes. They didn't know. But they pressured Samson's wife, and she, crying every day, managed to get the secret out. Samson lost the bet, and in fury he went to Ashkelon, killed 30 men and took their clothes to pay the debt. When he returned, his wife had been given to another man. Samson felt the taste of humiliation, and with it, the desire for revenge was born. Samson then came up with something unusual. He captured 300 foxes, tied them in pairs by their tails with lit torches, and released them into the Philistines' fields. The wheat fields, the vineyards, the olive groves, everything turned to ashes. It was chaos. In retaliation, the Philistines burned his ex-wife and father-in-law. Revenge turned into tragedy. Samson then struck the Philistines with great slaughter. Blood began to soak the earth. The personal war had begun. Samson took refuge in a cave in Ethan, but the Philistines marched to Judah and demanded that they hand him over. 3,000 Israelites went to the cave and said, "Do you not know that the Philistines rule over us? Why have you caused this?" Samson could have crushed them right there, but he decided to surrender. They tied him with 2 new ropes and took him to the enemy. But as soon as they arrived, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him again. The ropes fell apart. Taking a donkey's jawbone, Samson killed 1,000 men alone. And exhausted, he cried out to God. The Lord opened a rock and brought out water, and Samson was restored. Years passed. Samson became judge of Israel for 20 years, but his heart was still divided. It was then that he met Delilah in the valley of Zorah. She was beautiful and dangerous. The Philistine princes bribed her. "Discover the secret of your strength, and each of us will give you 1 to 100 pieces of silver." She insisted day after day, "Samson, if you love me, tell me the secret of your strength." He lied 3 times. But finally, broken by the insistence, he said, "If they cut my hair, my strength will be gone." Delilah waited for him to sleep on her lap. He ordered his braids to be cut, and the Spirit of God left him. The Philistines arrested him. They took out his eyes. They took him to Gaza. The man who killed armies now grinds wheat as a slave. He was mocked by enemies, but no one noticed. Samson's hair began to grow. The Philistines celebrated a feast for Dagon. They took Samson to the temple, a coliseum with 3,000 people on the roof. They mocked him. They humiliated him. But Samson asked the servant to take him to the main pillars. There he prayed, "O Lord God, remember me. Strengthen me just this once." With one last scream, he pushed the columns with all his soul. The entire temple collapsed. Samson died with his enemies. Samson was not just a warrior. He was the personification of human conflict, called by God, but attracted by the world, set apart for glory, but fallen by weakness. Still, his story doesn't end in failure, but in redemption. In his death, he freed Israel from its oppressors, because with God even the fallen can rise to fulfill an eternal purpose. Few Bible characters are as fascinating as Samson. He was a judge of Israel, chosen by God even before he was born, with a clear mission: to begin delivering the Israelites from the hands of the Philistines. From his mother's womb, Samson was set apart as a Nazirite, meaning he had to follow specific vows. He could not cut his hair, drink wine, or touch anything dead. His story is filled with strength and tragedy. The Bible tells us he killed a lion with his bare hands, defeated entire armies using only the jawbone of a donkey, and tore down the gates of a Philistine city using sheer force. But his greatest weakness wasn't physical, it was emotional. He became involved with Philistine women, especially Delilah, who ultimately betrayed him. Delilah deceived him and discovered that the secret of his strength was tied to his Nazirite vow, symbolized by his hair. She turned him over to the Philistines. Samson had his eyes gouged out and was made a slave. In the end, humiliated and imprisoned, he cried out to God one last time. And with the final strength God gave him, he pulled down the pillars of the Philistine temple, killing more enemies in his death than he had during his life. Samson died there among his enemies, crushed under the rubble. Scholars believe he was around 40 years old when he died. From an archaeological perspective, there's no direct evidence of Samson's existence yet. However, many scholars believe his story may have been based on a real leader during the period of the Judges, around 1100–1000 BC. The region where he lived, Zorah, did exist, and excavations nearby have revealed signs of conflict between the Israelites and Philistines during that time. For archaeologists, even if some elements of the story were symbolically exaggerated, Samson represents the deeper struggle between human weakness and divine purpose. And what about his strength? Many think it came from his hair, but the hair was only a symbol of his vow. His true power came from the Spirit of God. Every time Samson performed mighty acts, the Bible makes it clear, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him. His strength was spiritual. It came directly from God. If this story touched your heart or taught you something new, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way, you help us spread these biblical messages to more people. God bless you powerfully.